Hello, everybody, and welcome to the amazing opportunity that we have here today to learn from Janelle Anderson on how to create virtual events that get you six figures. And I am so excited to learn your tips and strategies on this, Janelle. But before we jump in, I wanted to let people know a little bit more about you. So, you're a confidence coach and speaking and storytelling mentor. You've helped coaches, consultants, authors, speakers attract more of their ideal clients and increase their profits faster through speaking and storytelling. You're a four-time best-selling author, and your newest book, Take Center Stage, Be the Star of Your Own Story, was released in January 2022 and is available on Amazon. And in this book, you share your trauma story and the transformational star process that helped you emerge from behind the curtain to center stage, fearlessly owning your place in the world. And this is such an important thing for all of us, I think, in the online space, is to realize that we can't hide behind our curtains or our PowerPoints. Like, we really got to get out there and take life by the horns, or whatever that phrase is, and we really have to believe that we can do it. And I think that's key. That's like the foundation for anything that we want to do. We really have to believe that we can do it. And so, tell us how we can create six figures out of our virtual events. I am all ears.
Okay. Thanks for having me on. And yes, we're talking about owning your stage, right? Being the star of your own story and owning your stage and coming out in front of everyone and sharing your expertise and all your wisdom and the wonderful things you have to share with the world. And I think that one of the best ways to do that is to create your own stage by hosting events. I've hosted events since I started my business. It used to be in the library, the local libraries, and I did a series like every month. I would do a workshop, and then COVID hit, and then I totally went online. I'm trying to do some in-person stuff again, but I fell in love with doing this online because it's so easy and convenient for people, and everybody's used to it now. And I don't know if you know this, but I forget where I got this from, but it said that it was an article on the virtual event industry. It is projected by 2027 to be a $404.5 billion industry.
Wow.
So
That's just 3 years from now.
I know. So it is hot, and it's a great place to create some income for yourself. Now, the six-figure events would be more of a longer event, because in the 3-day event space, and lots of people are doing them now, that gives you enough time to create a real close connection. People are in there with you in this intimate space, doing something with you. And by the end of the 3 days, they're like really excited and they feel connected to you. They know you, they like you, they trust you. And if you do it well and create a space for people to really experience something with you, then you can sell your higher end program in that space. So that's where you make your six figures. You can actually make six figures in 3 days. I've seen it done. Haven't quite got there myself yet, but I've worked on a team in many events where it was multiple six figures, and it's amazing. So you can do that. And even if you don't make six figures, even if you go into a weekend event and you come out of it making 20 grand or 30 grand or 50 grand, that's
Who's going to
okay.
say no to that?
And then six figures for a year. If you want to hit six figures and you haven't yet in a year, you can do that through multiple events throughout the year. Just do them regularly, because you start to create a following. People get used to seeing you out there. They start coming. You'll see the same people showing up, and then they're spreading the word. And it's just a beautiful thing because it creates such a great connection with people. I like that better than trying to create a connection through just email. I email or only even Facebook Lives or posting online, those kinds of things. They don't create the
Reels.
same connection.
Yeah.
Reels,
Yeah.
people see you. It's good for visibility and credibility, but that connection that you can make with people in real time, face to face, in
Mhm.
Zoom, is, you can't replace that. And so I really encourage people to get on the get on the virtual events bandwagon, start getting some of that cash for yourself.
Definitely. So, when you had to switch from in person to online, what were some of the realizations that you had about how things are done differently online? So, how did you have to shift?
Yeah, it is different, right? Because people are in a box on a screen. And so creating that connection, it's a little bit different than in person. It's pretty easy because it's in person and they're seeing you in the flesh. So you have to be mindful and intentional about creating the space, like I said, for them to experience the content that you're sharing, to experience it for themselves and to create that connection between each other as participants. Because they don't come to events to just sit and listen. Some people do. Some people stay off camera and just listen. But for the most part, what attracts people to events is not only getting your information and learning, but they want a connection and they want to feel like they're a part of something bigger than themselves, which is what we go to in-person events for, to create connections and relationships and to feel like we're part of a team or a group, like a thing, like a concert or an event. They want to feel like they're a part of something and that they are participating. They're seen and they're heard and they're known. And if you can create that in your event online, then people will keep coming back. And so that was the tricky part, was figuring out, how do I get people on camera? I've noticed too this trend since COVID and everybody's gotten on Zoom a lot and everybody's used to these events, that a lot of people are showing up off camera more than they used to.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like coaxing them out from behind that camera. We're talking about coming out from behind the curtain, right?
Yes.
You know? So I try to encourage them, if you're here to learn how to be a speaker and to run your own events, if that's why you're in my event, then that's the first step, is to come on camera if you can. There are reasons why you can't, but they're rare actually.
Right.
If you're here, show up, be on camera, and also comment and get involved and ask questions, because that actually helps you get seen and heard and known. And you never know who's in the room
Yeah.
attending. And they might see you ask a question or contribute in some way and be like, oh, I got to connect with her.
Yeah.
So you're practicing being seen even as an attendee in an event.
Yeah, I think that's such an important point because I've actually made some really great connections by asking a question and telling a little bit about who I am, what I do, and then
Yep.
framing my question. And so people get to know me beyond maybe the breakout rooms and then in the main room. And then I have people in the private chat. It's, oh, we got to connect. And
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
yeah, and
I
it's
think
it's so worth it because whether you're looking to get guests for your podcast or a summit or anything, or if you want to exchange Facebook Lives, there's so many opportunities, but people need to know like a little nugget of something about you in order to like,
Mhm.
I want to know
Mhm.
more.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're sitting there off camera just watching, people don't know if you're there. They don't know if you've left your computer and gone somewhere else. They don't know anything about you. So you become invisible
Yeah.
and people aren't really paying attention to you. And the leader or the host of the event is eventually won't even pay attention to you because you're not showing up. And so they're going to give all their attention and focus to the people showing up and the people raising their hands and the people sharing. And it
Yeah.
gives you, I have noticed the same thing myself as an attendee. When I'm showing up, then I get a lot more visibility and I make a lot more connections. And you just never know who's, and even like the host of the event, if they're hearing you and you're speaking up, they're going to feel more
Yeah.
connected to you. Maybe there's an opportunity there that you didn't even think about. You don't have to
Yeah.
be the host to be the most visible person. You are the most visible person, but you don't have to be the host to be visible
Yeah.
and to become known. So even as a participant, especially if you're learning how to speak and get on stage, that's the first step. Start showing up in these events. Get
Yeah.
on camera, ask questions, make comments, get in the chat and make comments. When you go in the breakout rooms, be aware that you're making connections with people that could pay off. You just never know. And it might not be that person, but maybe they know somebody they'll connect you with. You just never know.
Yeah. And I guess that could be one of the first simple techniques or strategies to make six figures from virtual events is to actually show up and
Yeah.
participate. I think,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a really important one. And what are some other strategies that you would recommend for people?
So if you've never hosted an event before, I would say start with a small one. Start with an hour and a half workshop or webinar. I prefer more of a workshop feel rather than a webinar. Usually a webinar is, you use a webinar platform and people are, you don't see them. They see you and you're just presenting and maybe you're getting them to comment in the chat box. But I like a Zoom room where they see you, and you have instant connection with them. And so do something small, do like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I highly recommend that, because one of the big issues that people have with events is I don't know what to say. I don't know how to put together the content. And usually people will come on if they're new at this and they'll just try to give all they have and they'll talk the entire time and there's no connection made and no experience for the people. They're just so plan it like a road trip. So that's how I always think of my events. And I always tell the story of when I was a kid, my dad would tell us a lot of stories about our ancestors who came down from Canada, and some of them were fur traders and they went out west, and they were the rough and tumble kind of guys. And he would tell us these stories and we'd half listen and whatever, Dad, we were kids. And so on a road trip one time, he took us off on an excursion and we ended up way out in the middle of nowhere in New Mexico in this dusty town that had one street and a post office and a couple buildings. There was nothing at all to this little town. And we get out and we're like, why are we here, Dad? What's going on? And he points up to the hillside and there was this huge sign up there, like the Hollywood sign. It
Yeah.
said Ladue. Ladue is our name.
Oh, that's
And
right.
one of our ancestors, one of those fur traders, had established this little town. And you would have thought all of a sudden we were in this beautiful place and we were the owners and kings and queens because our name was up on the hill. We were, and I'll never forgot that. But he gave us an experience.
Wow.
He didn't just tell us, he took us somewhere and let us experience it for ourselves. And that made a huge difference. To this day, I remember that. And I remember that feeling. So
No, don't tell.
yeah, show, don't tell. So when you are planning your event, you don't have to put a lot of content into it. And I always say plan in threes, right? People like to learn in threes. So 3 content blocks, a piece of content, and then let them experience it. Think of what you could have them do, whether it's go off and do a little exercise, come back and share on it. Sometimes I've done like little impromptu things like let's do especially if I'm talking about storytelling, we're working on a story. Okay, we're going to do a 30-second, just make up a story just to get them talking and it's fun.
Yeah.
And Q&A time, breakout rooms, make sure there's some sort of interaction after each piece of content and
Yeah.
make the content very simple. You want to plan a goal for the event so that just work on one thing. The goal for this event is we're going to write a story or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then teach a little bit, let them interact, let them start doing the activity with you. It's like a project. We're all working on a project. And those little exercises or activities that you give them are like those excursions, because when people experience it for themselves, when they can make it their own by doing something with your content, there's even like the retention rate for adults, they will only retain 5% of what you say, like a lecture,
Mhm.
but they'll retain 75% if they experience it with you,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
50% if you have a group thing. So do the group thing and do the experience thing. And then you don't have to put as much content,
Yeah.
but you want to have one goal, one outcome. So I always say start with that. What's your goal? What's your objective? And then think of 3 pieces of content and then start implementing some activities and get them chatting and talking right off the bat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you're going to be putting into practice everything that you've just shared with us at your
Yeah.
next summit, and it's the Art of Influence
Yeah.
Summit. And I'd love if you just talk a little bit more about what it is and what we can expect.
Yes, this is going to be an amazing summit. It starts actually tomorrow, May 14th. We are going to have 4 days of lots of great speakers, including Elizabeth, and each day has a theme. So that's one thing I love about the way this summit is arranged is it builds, each day builds on the one before. So it's all about speaking. It's called the Art of Influence, the Ultimate Speaking Mastery Summit. So day 1, we're going to talk about confidence in speaking and getting over stage fright and overcoming imposter syndrome and how do you get yourself ready to speak and get in that mindset of being confident. And then the second day is all about creating your own stage. So that's where I will share a lot more about putting on your own events. We'll have people sharing how to do summits and how to run your own podcast and those kinds of things where you can create your own stage. And day 3, speaking skills and storytelling skills and owning the stage, like how do you use the stage? How do you show up and be present in your, have this powerful presence as you're presenting, those kinds of things. And day 4, it's going to be all about monetizing your message. How do you make money from speaking and running events? So it's going to be fabulous. Each day, we're going to have at the end of the day a wine hour afterglow where you can ask the speakers questions and just come and share your insights and your takeaways. And then all week, we're going to have a live event hub. So you can go and check out the speakers' profiles all week. Even if you miss their talk, you'll still be able to get their freebie and see what they're all about all week long. And all the speakers have a free gift for everyone. And then if you upgrade to VIP, you get all the recordings and you'll also get all the VIP gifts. And I have a special masterclass for the VIPs on how to create your signature talk.
Wow.
So there's a lot of extra special things if you upgrade. It's only $97 to get 30 plus speakers, recordings, and gifts, and my masterclass. And I think the other VIP gift is access to my storytelling mastery course.
Yeah,
And
awesome.
that's with I'm sure I have 2 different things going on. So I'm like, which gift am I giving to what thing?
It's going to be amazing, whatever one it is, I'm sure.
Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun and so valuable. So I encourage everyone to try and, create that space this week and come in. You can, once you sign up, you'll get the agenda and the schedule so you can see when different speakers will be on and you can come and go.
That's
And
awesome. I'm really looking forward to participating in your summit as well. And I'll actually be talking about how you can sell out your books. I know a lot of times people will have a book published and then it fills them up in their garage and they don't do anything with them. And so I'm going to
right.
talk about that because that really is one of your stages is your book, but you got to get it into people's hands. And so I'm really excited to share that
That's going to
with
be
your
great.
attendees.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put the link for the summit in below this video. And if you're watching there in social media land, click that link and join us for this 4 amazing days. And Janelle said, like, you can come and go and you can catch up on things that you missed. So it's really easy to fit it into your busy schedule. And we're just going to be so happy to see you there. So thanks so much, Janelle, for popping on
Yeah.
today and sharing about what you do in your summit. And I'm looking forward to learning more from you at the summit.
Thanks. And I'm looking forward to yours and having you on, and can't wait to see you and all your people joining us. So thanks for having me on today.
Thanks, everyone.